I'm benchmarking. I'm benchmarking international companies as well. So I would recognize my competitors in Nigeria, but I'm thinking about how do I position myself and compete with even international brands while still in the local market. So preparing myself for the time when I will be able to service those kind of customers. So think local, start local, but think global. So one of the very basic things that I thought about at the time was even the name, even down to the name of the business. I was like, I want the name to be able to, be recognized both locally and globally. A name that, if someone asks you, oh, what are you doing? They can ask, is it Nigeria or is it abroad, right? And it will be fine. So think so for me, that's one of the things that resonated with me. The name of the business. Okay, what kind of clients are we serving? And how do you position yourself in terms of value, in terms of excellence, and all of that. So 2 years ago, we then decided to set up shop in the United States, and that was just to meet the global demands of people that are moving to America, Canada, and the environs, right? For me, that was my own. I mean, like, we still plan to service those that are locals in those countries, but we understood that people were relocating and people will be needing, they'll be moving to new homes, and then they'll be needing, interior designers, and that's how we're able to transition to that. So my next point will be, are you ready? How ready are you for global expansion? Is your products or services, are they currently scalable for the international markets? So these are some of the questions that you really need to ask yourself before you decide to go on this journey. So what opportunities are available for your business in the global market? So the lots of businesses, like the current business that you're doing, is there a demand for it, abroad? You don't even have to move abroad. You can be in your comfort of your home. And now, thankfully, because of the beauty of, or miracle, like I always say, miracle of technology, you can sit in your home, and then you can be, you can export your services, you can export your products for consumption, right? So evaluate your current resources. Another point, when you're looking at expanding your business, trying to access new markets, to be evaluating your current resources. So do you have the financial, human, and technological capacity to support expansion? Now, sometimes even to expand locally, moving from one stage to another, you need to, ask yourself and evaluate these resources. And now then having to now do that on a larger scale is a different ball game. So sometimes we don't plan properly for these things, and then we can, hit a roadblock at some point. So ask yourself, do you have what it takes in terms of like your resources, your financials, your human, and technological capacity, right? My next point will be, what are the challenges of going global, before we begin to look at the opportunities and how we can position ourselves for the global market? Now, obviously, depends on no matter the country you're going to, even if you're going to Ghana from Nigeria, even if you're going to Togo from Nigeria, there would definitely be cultural differences, either language barrier, or, just like different, like the way I grew up in Nigeria will be different from how, someone that's a consumer in Ghana, or a consumer in the United Kingdom, or a consumer in Asia would respond to your products, right? So is your product, or are your products and services, are they adaptable to new cultures, languages, and even consumer behaviors? I remember there was a time I went to China. I think this was maybe 2017. I went for a conference. And after the conference, I was hungry, and I was like, oh, let me go to a Chinese restaurant to go and eat. And unknown to me, I just thought it was the way I eat my Chinese in Nigeria. When I go to a Chinese restaurant, it was the same way I was going to have it, right there in China. And it was totally different. The experience of the dining was different. Like, I didn't like it, right? It was later when I was speaking to a friend of mine that I realized that, then we now, concluded that Chinese restaurants, when they come to Nigeria, they sort of make the food, to taste like what we are familiar with. right? So they've been able to customize and see how their own local dish can adapt to our own current, taste buds and all of that. So for you as well, so the same way you package, maybe for just, analogy's sake, maybe you want to go and sell Gary in the UK, and the way you're drinking the Gary, for someone that is Oyinbo or that is a white man, right, or a white lady that you want to sell your Gary to, their taste bud, are they able to, Gary has like how they say it slaps, like he has like some sort of like strong taste when it gets into your mouth. So the person that is going to be tasting that is not hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you guys still hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, I
Okay,
can
sorry.
hear you from
All
here.
right, sure. So let it be that when you're selling to that kind of market, you've already done your market research, you've done what the customer wants, and then you can now adapt your products or your service to that. So very, very important. You don't just take your products from Nigeria and just assume that, oh, because people in Nigeria really love what you do, every other person, in a different environment, in different terrain, would also respond to it like that. No, you have to do your research and find how you can adapt the products or your service to meet their own demand. So another question that you have to ask yourself, right, while trying to expand and go into new markets, new territories, will be, what are the regulatory barriers, right? How are you complying? How are you going to comply with local laws, taxes, and policies? Because how each country, how each jurisdiction does business is definitely different from how it is done where you're based. So I remember when we were trying to register my company in the United States, the things that we were asked, to present, the different things in terms of like how we're going to be filing for our taxes, how we're going to, register the business, it was completely different from how I did it back home. And if I was going to flout some of the laws, penalties straight. Like it's not like Nigeria where you go and meet the person and say, I beg you, my brother, please, can you help us? Can you help me? No, that one they don't hear ngbati ngbati. You have to follow the law, follow the book. So you need to be extremely careful and ensure that that is on a lockdown. Now, for people that want to expand with products, right? How are you settling your logistics and supply chain, right? So how are you going to be managing shipping? How are you going to be managing warehousing and distributions in these new regions? Now, what I would usually advise is that if you, for example, you have product, maybe you're selling like Ori, for example. You're selling like Ori, for example. You're selling like Ori, for example. Don't take on your first consignments, don't take many, right? Like start small so that you can understand the processing, you can understand, in terms of logistics, okay, if I'm going to be transporting things from here to the United Kingdom, what are the steps that I need to make in terms of maybe customs, in terms of like, the clearing over there. I remember there was somebody that I think some years ago, she was going to be exporting, I think it was maybe Ogi or something. I can't remember. It was something that was sort of like perishable, but it could still, the shelf life was still maybe like for like a month or so. But unfortunately, they had loaded containers and they loaded like, lots of consignments on the container. But unfortunately, I think, how Nigeria is now. Well, we are in Jesus' name, but how we are, where you had already planned that, okay, this consignment will move, say maybe December 1st. And for some reason, there was delay in the port. There were different things that they did not, plan for. And before the products even left Nigeria, we're already looking at maybe like 6 weeks, right? Now, add travel time to it. Then add when it gets to the country, when they also have to do their own checks. Anyways, long and short, I'm sure you already understand where the story is going to. The thing had already spoiled before it got to the country, and obviously they made losses, and it was just bad business entirely. So these are things that you need to factor in. Okay, my products that I'm going to be sending, what's the shelf life? Even if it doesn't have shelf life, what can go wrong along the line? How do we mitigate the risk and all that? So these are questions that you need to ask You also, if you have to get like a consultant, someone that has done this, or someone that can help you, right? You need to also make sure that this part has been handled properly. Now, currency risk. Now, we are really exposed when it comes to this, right? With the way that our currency is not even stable at all, so it fluctuates. But I understand that you also want to, because if you're moving things from your local base, you're going to still be purchasing raw materials and all that in your local currency, and then trying to convert and trying to make profits, where you're going to. So you need to also look at that and ensure that you're because there's sometimes that you're making money, but you're losing. So you might be seeing in your book that, oh, I'm making $100,000. It looks like it's big, but by the time you really look at it, you might not. Oh, sorry, I didn't know that my video was not on. No, I'm really sorry. I think it's the calls that have been coming into my phone that has caused that. Oh, apologies, I didn't know. All right. So yeah, so so yes, um ensure that that is sorted. So in terms of like currency risk is extremely important. I always say if it's possible to dollarize your naira, try as much as possible to dollarize it and ensure that you're not exposed to such risk. Increased competition. Now, competing with already established local and global brands. Now, when you decide that you want to open shop in a new territory, obviously you're going to be, you're most likely maybe going to meet other local competitors that are already there. They're not going to just welcome you with open arms and say, oh, because you're coming, you're new, you're coming from a new region, we welcome you, we'll close our shop for you, you can now dominate our market. No, you're going to also go play. So you need to understand that, this is going to be increased competition. There are already people that are there, except in instances where you know that this product of yours in this country that you're going to, or in this country is going to be, apologies, you are the only one that is going to be selling these things. So yeah, so that's really, really important. Now, things to put in place for successful expansion. Now, without saying so much, I'm sure that you know that you need to have a robust business model, right? Ensure that the product and your service is adaptable and also scalable. Now, another point which is really, really important is collaborate with local agents or service providers or manufacturers. Now, in my own case, because I run an interior design company which is purely service based. Now, we've done projects, within and outside of Nigeria. We've done projects in Rwanda, in Ghana, in United Kingdom, in Dubai, and some other places outside of our local environments. One thing that we do really well, or when we get such projects, is how we're thinking about collaborating with local people. Now, no matter how much you know, no matter how much of an expert you are, there will still be certain things that you don't know because it's not your environment or it's not your primary place of operation. So you need to humble yourself. You need to, be able to find key players in that local market that you can collaborate with. So I think that at the end of the day, one important thing when it comes to global expansion is finding the right partners and finding the right people to collaborate with. Right now, there are different ways that you can expand. You don't have to be the one to do it and go and set up shop. You can definitely collaborate and partner with people. So I remember there was a project that we had in Rwanda. So the client had requested our services. So I came from Nigeria, went there. Now I had two options at the time. Was either I, take all of our artisans from Nigeria, that's carpenters, painters, all of that, fly them over to Rwanda and do the project, or sort of like find very good hands in Rwanda, partner with them, and then do the project. And I chose the latter. First of all, it will be great to also see that, okay, we are using local hands and, just helping the economy, right, of Rwanda. And then secondly, there's no way, the same way I really don't know so much about the country in terms of Rwanda, it's the same way if I carry my own people from here, they also will not know so much. They will just, go do their work. But for partnering with or collaborating with, an interior design company over there, and then they also using local, or us using local technical experts, just made a total difference. So we can collaborate with people, that are already in the countries that you want to go to. Now, hire local talent who understand the market as well. So now I'm not talking about partnership. I'm just talking about, at this point, talking more about people that already maybe that can serve as your consultant. Now, so my husband is the strategy consultant, and I know that he consults for some Fortune 500 companies. And what he does sometimes is, when these big companies are trying to come into Africa, or trying to come to Nigeria in particular, they try to look for experts, people that can help them in terms of knowledge. Okay, what should we be looking out for? And these are big companies that are multinational, companies that are that are turning over billions of dollars, but they still understand the value of great advice, the value of, okay, this needs to be done. How do we do it? We want you to help us. So now think about your own business, that okay, there's no way you would not need some sort of like technical advice on how the market is and how the industry is in the local places in the countries that you want to go to. Now, my next point will be make sure that yes, it's about strategic alliance in international countries. So look for countries where your products or services has demand. Now, I understand that we want to go global, but at the end of the day, if you understand how it is that we are in a global village, we are in a global, like, the world is a global village basically. So, but your product also has to have demand. Doesn't make sense for you to stand up and say, "Oh, I want to go set up, you know, I want to go expand in the United Kingdom, but nobody needs my services, or there's no demand for the products." It will not, obviously, you're just going to just not be present there at all. So you should be ready to make your products also, like I said earlier, adaptable to the new markets, and ensuring that there is demand for it. So this, at the end of the day, is just making sure that you're doing your research and understanding that, okay, yes, this particular product is really needed where I'm going to, and then how do I make myself accessible to that? So next point will be, what is your strategy? So you can't just wake up and say, "Oh, this is where I'm going to," without no strategy. You have to sit down and think about how you're going to strategize to expand your business in the global market. So set clear objectives, right? Define your goals. So what are you aiming at within the first 3 years, 1 to 3 years, within the first 5 years, within the next 10 years, and what the main objective is, for you to expand. Now, what's the market share? And how does that tie or relate to what you'll be getting in that share as well? Your revenue growth, your brand recognition, like I said earlier. These are some of the things that you need to consider when you're planning your strategy for expansion. Now, how do you then choose an entry mode? So how do you now expand? Like, how are the different ways that you can expand your business into global scene? Direct export, so selling products directly to consumers or businesses. So you're making like maybe Ankara bags in Nigeria, and you're exporting directly to different markets in different parts of the world. That's like direct export. So the normal way that we know, oh, you pack 100 Ankara bags and you're exporting and you're shipping, that's fantastic. Another way, like I said earlier, is partnerships, right? Collaborating with local people, distributors or agents, right? So how do you form alliance? How do you form partnerships? And how do you collaborate? Which for me is one of the sweetest ways that I always like to operate in, right? Another model which we are familiar with, but sometimes I think that maybe because we have like small businesses, we don't think that we are at that level yet, but it's something that we should begin to prepare our minds for, which will be franchising, right? So you have a brand name, a reputable brand name. And that's why it's so important for you to already establish such a strong brand in your local, where you are domiciled, right? And you've already put in your processes, you have like strong processes and procedures, your organization is well structured. So franchising is really then something that we can consider, right? So allowing local people that the country that you're going to, to use your business brand, and so you're not going to physically set up shop there. Because of the work that you have already done with your brand, you are able to sell the franchising, and then you are making money off, all of that. So franchising is also something that you can consider. But again, like I said, you would already have to put in the work for you to get to that level. Establish local operations. So setting up a branch, or subsidiary, which I think, is for small businesses, is quite, it can be capital intensive, but if it's something that you eventually want to do, why not? Again, it depends on the product. It depends on the level at which you are at, currently in your business, and what model you're trying to, look at in terms of like your expansion, your global expansion. Another point will be leveraging technology for global reach. Now, we have been blessed with technology. We have been blessed with, social media. Nobody has the excuse to say that their business cannot go global, because at the end of the day, it's almost like your destiny is in your hands. I mean, I used to say that back in the days, when we were younger, when we did not have we didn't have social media, and we had to use things like traditional media, like newspaper, TV ads, radio jingles. We know how much that costs, that used to cost, and we know the hassle and the headache that that can be, having to put your putting an advert in the newspaper and radio and TV and all of that. But now, in the comfort of your home, you can create content. You can the opportunities are limitless. Like there's so much that you can do. You can post something on your social media right now in Ibadan, somewhere in your living room or in your bedroom, and somebody in the United Kingdom, someone in Belgium, someone in China, someone in Japan can see it. And so I always then ask people when they say, "Oh, I'm not really, social media is not for me." I'm like, okay, maybe if not for your personal brand, but for your business brand, social media is for everybody, except you are not there to make money. Maybe your business is a charity organization, just want to dash people money, or you don't want to make money at all. You can say that social media is not for you. But we need to be able to leverage technology for global reach. I remember back then, interior designer, like I said, I'm an interior designer. For an interior designer, if you do up a space, you take pictures, the best you can do is have like a portfolio, like an album. I don't know, if I don't know, there are Gen Zs here, there are millennials here, there are baby boomers here, but people that are above Gen Z and co. I don't know if growing up, you had like these photo albums when people come to visit your parents, they give you their wedding album of like 40 years before, or your baby dedication and all that. Anyways, long and short is, back then for interior designers, you would have to put your pictures in what you call these portfolios or albums, and then you carry it from one place to another. Maybe you go and show your friend, "Oh, this is what I've done," or you show another client. But do you know how much work it would take for you to carry that portfolio from one place to another? You might not be able to, in 1 week, you might not be able to show up to 20 people. But with social media, upload it, thousands of people can see it at a go. So I always say, how make it make sense if you're not using or you're not leveraging technology for global reach. So digital marketing, you can also use, Google ads, there's Facebook, like I said, Instagram, there's TikTok, there's Snapchat, there's Twitter. Even though Twitter, I don't know if Twitter is a safe place, because I'm not on Twitter. So, and I always hear things about Twitter. I'm like, wow, it's for the strong hearted, but it's well with everybody. LinkedIn as well, just to reach global audiences. For my business, we've gotten requests from different parts of the world, from Botswana, from Turkey, from Ghana, different places, just because of technology. This would not have happened if, we didn't have technology, or we didn't have like this social media blessing, basically. So yes, please, one of the easiest ways to leverage is to leverage technology, basically. And if you something that you know that you cannot do yourself, you can always, hire somebody to do it for you, someone that you know is good. At the end of the day, you have no excuse. You are to put your business on, on the global scene, and that's your responsibility. Another point would be e-commerce solution. And I know that we're familiar with this. Some of us buy things from Amazon, we buy things from Shein, we buy things from Alibaba, we buy things from, different platforms. What about you, selling your products on those platforms as well? And I don't think it's as difficult as we think it might be. I remember the other time, somebody was saying that you can almost find anything on Amazon. If you want to buy omorogun. I don't know if you know omorogun. Omorogun is that thing that they normally use to stir amala when they are making it. You can find it on Amazon. If you want to buy broom, you can find broom on Amazon. Like the different things. So I don't think that your products can be like that. Like that. It's something that you feel like you cannot sell on Amazon. You can sell anything. So I think that's one of the easiest way as well to go global. Trying, registering your business on these platforms and seeing how you can sell. And you'll be surprised and you'll be shocked how, that platform can actually even take your products to Australia, different parts of the world, right? When necessarily you might not have been able to do by yourself. Would you cost you money? Yes, it will cost you money. I even think that sometimes you might even have to pay extra for your products to even be visible to certain customers. If you have to do that, then do that. At the end of the day, it's a strategy. Like, what strategy are you putting in place to ensure that your products is on the global scene, right? Another point to be customer relationship management. Now, implement systems to track and nurture customer relationships globally. So you're serving people that are in Nigeria. And that's why I always say that try as much as possible to ensure that the clients that you're even serving locally are also your ambassadors, right? Such that anywhere that they go to, they're able to speak about your products, right? So now that we have the influx or outflow of people really, immigrating, going to different countries, those are your ambassadors, those are your brand influencers, those are the people that can help you to talk about your products, even while you are even still in Nigeria. They're the people that are going to evangelize about your product. But if you did not serve them well while they were in Nigeria, and I'm just speaking generally as if everybody here is in Nigeria. If you are not in Nigeria, wherever you are at, just replace it with Nigeria when I'm mentioning Nigeria. So, you wear a really nice, beautiful dress. So, for example, this top I'm wearing, it was a Nigerian that made it. Now, imagine that I am traveling and I'm on a flight. I'm going to the United Kingdom. Do you know how many people that can stop me and say, "Oh wow, your top is really nice," even from the airport? "Oh wow, your top is really nice. Where did you get it from?" I give the person's contacts. I get to the airport in the United Kingdom. "Oh wow, your top is really nice. Where did you get it from?" "Oh, I got it from Nigeria." "Oh, can the person deliver?" "Yes." And I send them their contacts. I get to the United Kingdom itself. Maybe I go for an event, in United Kingdom, and people are like, "Oh wow, your top is really nice. Where did you get it from?" So my point is, now I've now been the one that I've helped the person to export her products, right? So just ensuring that you offer such great service, you offer such great products that you have like unpaid brand ambassadors. You have that you also look at how your current customers can help in terms of expanding your reach, especially with people that are relocating. You can also have like, a conversation with some of them and say, "Oh, okay, you're going to a new place, you're going to Canada, and I would like to, some of these products that I've been selling to you in Nigeria, please, if you go there, you can speak to people, we will give you commission, maybe your church, when you find a new home church, you find a new your new workplace, please, help us speak. You get a commission. There are different ways that you can think about it. The most important thing is, like I said, why? What's your why? Why do you want to go global, right? I know that I'll soon be taking questions as I begin to round this off. So, in almost like a nutshell, right? Prioritize quality and excellence, and also innovation as well. So, even while you're delivering local, make sure that you deliver exceptionally well. Like I said, from the onset when I started my business, I knew that I was eventually going to service people that were both locally and globally as well. And so our processes, the way we treat people, the way we deliver excellence has always been with that mindset. So that it's not like, oh, after you've done business for 10 years and then you now realize that, oh, you know what, it's time to now go global. Then you have to now start restructuring your business or restructuring things to ensure that you fall where you could have as well just started from the, but again, like they say, anytime that you wake up is your morning. So if you've not put things in place now, it's something that you can look back, you can go back now and begin to arrange your house and say, now I want to go global. What are the things that I need to start doing now? So make sure that you deliver exceptional services. That one is non-negotiable at all. Mindset is very, very key. Knowing that, okay, this product that I have, like there was a project that we were, bidding for, and we had, I was a Nigerian company, there was a South African company, and there were like three other, international companies as well that were bidding for projects. And immediately, like, there was this almost like, I don't know, I hardly have imposter syndrome, but it was almost like, first of all, like, how did they even find us that, we're competing with these other international companies? But in my mind, I was thinking, I'm also an international company. If I've been able to serve people outside of Nigeria, I'm also an international company. And these people deem it fit that we can compete with them. Anyway, long and short is that, we won the bid, and, it just really just put a stamp on the company again that, yes, we have actually been doing something right. So your mindset is very, very important as well on the journey of expansion. So, but one thing that you also need to be clear is that you have to be patient and persistent as well, because building a global presence will take time and consistent efforts. Again, like, even when you're starting up a business in Nigeria or in your local environment, you have to be patient and make sure that you put in the work and then see how it grows. It's the same way as well. It's not the day that you wake up and say you want your business to now be global, that everything will just begin to fall in line and then your business becomes global. You need to be patient and then also adapt, be able to be adaptable and, adapt quickly to feedback and market demands as well. It's possible, though, that you might decide that, okay, this thing is really working in the local place that I am coming from. And maybe when you move or you're selling things, and things are actually even moving globally, but something happens, maybe, a country passes a new law, a new policy, and it affects your business. You should be able to be adaptable to feedback and, market changing, right? Stay informed always about global trends and the way the economy is shifting. Now, there are things that in the next 10 years, the way we are doing business now will definitely be different, because different things would have happened, and we just need to always stay in trend. So moving our businesses from local to global is definitely a transformative journey, and it requires strategic planning. Like, you cannot even just say that, you want to wing it. So it really requires strategic thinking, planning, cultural understanding as well. So important and so key, right? And just consistent execution and making sure that everything that we're doing, is falling in line with our goals and our plans as well. So, prepare thoroughly and also always just embrace innovation and make sure that you tap into as many opportunities that you can see and then expand your business successfully. Thank you so much for having me, and I'm open to any questions that we may be having. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Morenike.
Thank
Thank you very
you.
much. This is Kelechi again.
Hi, Kelechi.
So yeah, you're welcome. Before we take the Q&A, that's the questions and answers. I want to apologize to the house, so to speak, to all the attendees. I should have actually read out Mrs. Morenike's profile before she started. I'm pretty sure we all heard her say she works for an interior design company and all that. And she's done quite a lot in the industry. So please, let me just take a few minutes to just do that. Because if I don't do this, I won't be doing justice to the person
It's fine. I
that
think
we
that's
have
the
before.
reason why before I started, I was confused who I was to start.
Yeah,
So I wasn't sure. Yeah, but
yeah.
so fine.
I'm so sorry about that. Yeah, I'm so
No, no,
sorry
it's fine.
about that. Yeah. So Mrs. Morenike Molen is the founder and CEO of Oak and Teak Interiors, an award-winning interior design company recognized as one of the fastest growing in Africa. She has over 10 years experience in this industry and has positioned the company as a leader in complex design projects, including five-star hotels. Interesting. That's fantastic. And expanded its services globally to Dubai, Rwanda, Ghana, and recently the United States of America to cater for global demand for her services. In 2022, the company won the International Award for Best Luxury Residential Interior Design Company in Nigeria. Morenike is also a leader that has earned several awards and nominations across industries, especially where she plays. And I think one of them that actually stands out is the Eloy Entrepreneur Award. I think Eloy stands for Exquisite Lady of the Year awards. I think it's a prestigious award that is given to outstanding female, or should I say, outstanding women in Nigeria here. So I mean, she's done quite a lot for herself and earned a repertoire for herself. I have my questions I also want to ask, and I don't have comments that I even intend to share. But of course, this is a meeting for everybody, and probably particularly not me. So I think we can take questions now from the team, and I will just contribute, and let's have Mrs. Morenike answer these questions. Do we have questions in the comment section, or do you want us to unmute if you want to ask your questions physically? We have about 5 minutes for that, 5 to 10 minutes for that. Let me just get to the chat section to see whether there are questions. Okay, I see a question from Priscilla. I hope this is the first one that says, what are the first steps a business should take when considering expanding to international markets? And at what time will an entrepreneur know when to take the business global? Is it in terms of years, sales, or profits?
Oh, so do you want me to answer this now, or are there other
Yes,
questions?
please.
So the first question, can we ask the first question again?
Okay, she says, what are the first steps a business should take when considering expanding into international markets? That's the first question.
Okay, so the first steps to take when expanding into international markets will be asking you, like I said earlier, I don't know if she had already joined when I, started the when I started this. I was like, you need to ask yourself certain questions. Why do you want to go global, right? And then also, do you have what it takes to go global in terms of like capacity, in terms of like your products and your services? So yeah, please ask that question again.
Okay, the same question or the second one, because she asked
So
two
the
questions
first
in
one,
one.
the first one, the first one.
It says, what are the first steps a business should take when considering expanding into international markets? The first steps.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah. So asking yourself, like, why do I want to go global? And then, so for example, if your product is, say, let me see what kind of product, let me just use Ori for example. So what are the steps in, expanding and taking my Ori business to international markets? Will be, finding out if there's a demand there. So doing like your market research, right? So you need to research that your product is demanded in the places that you're going to. Or it might even be that they might not even know that they need your products, but you know that the clients, the customers, they need your products. But it means that you really want to do the work to let them see why they need your products. So all of that has to do with, market research, your strategy, your entry strategy. How do you want to get into that market? So those are things that those are first steps, I think, that you need to have before you can, go global. Then the second question, how do you know when to, I think second question is, how do you know when to move?
Yes, it was making difference on time. Yes. What time?
Sorry?
Yes, you're right. As in when? Time. What time?
So obviously there's no one size fits all to this kind of question. I think that as a business owner, you would know the time when you want to scale. Some businesses, it might be maybe 1 year. After 1 year, they're like, oh, I think it's time to expand into the global market. Some people, it might be 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Some people never do, because in fact, I think there was a time when I said that, oh, I want to move, I want my services to go to certain countries in Africa. And then I realized, when I did my research and my survey, and I realized that Silico, even Nigeria alone, right? Like Nigeria, with how they're always saying that Nigeria is with 200 million people. If you combine almost like 10 countries, other African countries, or 10 or 15 other African countries, their numbers are not even up to Nigeria. So I'm like, so why do I now want to go to these countries? Is it because I just want to say, oh, I'm a global player? Or my business is in certain countries? Is that why? Because if I look at it truly, for the numbers in Nigeria, if I can even just have 10% of it, that's like 20 million. In fact, 10% is a lot. So do I want to focus? For me, is it revenue that is driving me, or is it because I just want to have my brand represented in these different places? Because at the end of the day, I might even make more money focusing my energy just serving the Nigerian market, and that's because of our numbers. I'm not saying because it's Nigeria. I'm just saying, so you need to also ask yourself these certain questions, like, okay, why exactly do I now want to move to other countries? So that one is now, your own personal question to answer for yourself. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Romy. There's another question here from I think it's from Priscilla again. She says, how can I know as an entrepreneur I think she means which new market, or how do you access new markets, basically, that's fit for her business?
I'm not sure I really understand this question.
Okay.
If Priscilla is there, Priscilla, can you ask the question? Priscilla, are you here?
You can unmute and ask your question, Priscilla. I think she's here. She's here.
Okay.
Hello, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Just that I'm multitasking.
Oh, okay.
Okay, actually, thanks the questions on the tax session. Sorry, I'm a doctor of optometry, and I have a PhD in public health. I'm into researches, and I'm trying to do so many things at the same time. So for me, this seminar is a very timely one, and I stand there to gain a lot from you. And thank you very much for the insights that you have given so far. So I just wanted to know how I can access this new market, and then how do I know that it really fits into my business, and how also can I balance the risk and reward when expanding into maybe these unfamiliar global markets. And then lastly, must all local businesses go global? How do you reconcile this with creating niches and domains? Those are just the questions I want you to throw more light on this from your perspective. Thank you.
No problem. You're welcome. So amazing. So I think I'll take it from the last one, where it says that must all local companies or businesses go global. No, it's not compulsory. It really just it depends on your desire. Right. So companies that decide to go global, like even like your H&Ms, like your fashion brands, it's not all the fashion brands that go global. Some still remain in their local countries, and they are making so much money. So why did H&M or your Apple or your Samsung, why did they decide to go? It depends on their vision as well. So their vision, what what their plan is. So maybe like an Apple, for example, they want a situation whereby they're able to help, humanity communicates better. And so they know that it is more than just one country. It has to go global. It has to, cut across different or all countries. So it depends on your vision. Okay, the vision of your business. What exactly is my goal, right? So, I hear that you're a doctor. So your plan can be, okay, this vision that I have, is more like more people can benefit from this, and more people's lives can be impacted, more people's lives can be blessed by it, right? So it might just be your vision and your goal, and to see how many people can benefit from it, whether you're Black, whether you're white, whether you're brown, whether you're, I don't know, any other color. But I think at the end of the day, it depends on each person. You can have two businesses doing this exact same thing, but they have different visions, and those visions is what would determine what would drive them. And like, my husband would usually say is that what is chasing you, or what you are chasing, will determine how fast you run. So it depends on how big you want your dream or your vision to go. And it doesn't mean that because you're not going global, doesn't mean that your vision isn't big. But at the end of the day, it's just how many people, right? Do you want your business to impact and to transform their lives? So I think that that's how I would answer that question. I know that you asked other questions, but I know that I'd already talked about it, while I was speaking earlier. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Monica. Yeah, I think there's the last question from Toluwanimi. Please forgive me. I hope I pronounced that correctly. It says, Dr. Rennie talked about customer management. How do you handle and work with difficult clients?
All right. So
that's it.
all right, no problem. So I mean, like, I don't think that anybody that will go into business that would not encounter a difficult client. It's not, as in, if you have not, maybe in like 10 years, you've done business for like 10 years, and you never encountered a difficult client, please come and lay hands on the rest of us, because your own grace is from, I don't know, it's from above, definitely. So I say that to say that it is normal, right? And don't let that sort of like discourage you. What I always say when I'm going through that situation, because I've gone through that situation as well, it's just that now with experience, we're able to already see it coming. Before, we couldn't see it coming, but now we can already see it coming based off on past experiences. When we have a difficult client, we can already tell before we take on the project, and we already know how we're going to be able to manage that particular client. But I always say at the end of the day is that this too shall pass. No matter what, for a company like mine, that sometimes we're on a project for like 6 months, 9 months, 1 year, the shortest project maybe 6 weeks, 8 weeks. But I know that no matter what, that project will end one day. So it means that difficult client, our conversation will end one day, right? So the best I can do is, we've already committed, except we do not collect money from the person. As long as you collected money from the person, your job and your contract is that you will deliver that job, regardless of how difficult that person is at the time, knowing well that, say, look, I have to do my own end of this. Like, I have to, my own end of this bargain of this contract, I have to deliver, regardless of how much this person is, being difficult. But knowing that after this too shall pass. This person is not going to be in my life forever. Let me deliver. And then I found out, I don't know if anyone can relate, I found out that the very difficult customers that I have worked with, even after we have done our own part, but we know that these clients things that we do not, or you are thinking that we do not do well, those are the clients that even used to refer us the most. It always happens all the time. I mean, I'm not saying that we have difficult clients all the time. Maybe out of like 100 clients, if we had like 5 or 9 or 10 difficult clients, out of the 10, 8 will usually recommend us. And that's why it's so important how you respond to crisis or you respond to people. You don't need to match the energy they are giving you. Okay, this client is rude, this client is difficult, me too, I'm going to show them. Is it, how much are you even paying me that you're even don't reduce your worth. Don't reduce your worth because of how much the person is paying you, or because of how much that person is the person, how that person is being difficult to you. Just treat them well. They see it. That's the thing. So that's the thing. Like, when someone is very, very difficult and you are reciprocating with kindness, with love, with understanding, with patience, with okay, no problem. All right, thank you. In fact, there was a particular day I remember there was a very, very difficult client that I had like 4 or 5 years ago. That project was, those projects that from the beginning, maybe you were broke, but you knew that these projects, you need the money. But if you take this project, you know that you're going to encounter challenges, but no problem. I'm broke, I need that money, let me collect it. So from the onset, I already knew that we were going to have problem, but because of money now, we collected the work. There was a particular day the client was just shouting. I don't know, when I on my knees, I knelt down, held the woman's legs, and was just apologizing that, ma, we are so sorry, we'll fix everything, don't be angry. Kineko. Her husband came downstairs and was like, why are you allowing a whole CEO to kneel down to kneel down? I said, sir, please just leave me here. Let me just be kneel. I need to appease her. I need to apologize. I need to, So seeing that, the woman, obviously, she did not know what to do again. When somebody kneels down, see, oh CEO, where again do you want to come and beg you? I knelt down, I begged her, told her that we're so sorry, that everything will be fine. She did not expect it at all. Even myself, after I left home, I was like, which kind fruit of the spirit is this one? Like, why am I even kneeling down? What kind of heart do I even have? Sometimes my heart too should be hard now. Me, so I should even be angry, but I just thank God, just for that. And that was how that project just began to be smooth going forward. And that person has become one of our biggest ambassadors ever. So you can always turn it around, right? It just depends on how, you respond to the situation. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you very much, Morenike. Thank you. That's been really insightful and really great to have you take out valuable time to speak to us. Thank you very much, Morenike. Before we introduce our next speaker, that's the person of Mr. Ifeanyi Otuaya, I would just like to comment on what I think I learned from your presentations, in terms of where you talked about leveraging technology, and where you also talked about collaborations or partnerships or co-creation. There's something I always tell a few of my friends and maybe clients alike, is that when it comes to social media, you cannot escape from it, because social media can be likened to word of mouth. I call it word of mouth on steroids, because
yes.
I mean, just as you said, you could say something here in Ibadan and you're talking to somebody in faraway US or UK or whatever that case might be. So we cannot, if growth is your trajectory, then you cannot hide it. You can't run away from social media. For collaborations, partnerships, and maybe co-creation, that became an in thing post-COVID, because at one point when COVID hit almost of us, we knew that we cannot survive on our own. We can't survive without collaborating with friends, family, and other businesses, as the case may be. So those are the key highlights for me. And I thank you very much, Morenike. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Okay, to our next presenter, Mr. Ifeanyi Otuaya. I'll try not to make the same mistake I did in the first instance, where I forgot to introduce Mrs. Morenike. So our next speaker is Ifeanyi Otuaya. He's an expert presenter. Trust me, he is. I've had the opportunity of collaborating with him at some past events. He's also a negotiator and has a strong business acumen and great networking skills. He's the head sales and trade development, that's for Lagos Island, with, of course, the telecoms giant MTN Nigeria. Prior to that role, he held several roles or various roles with MTN Nigeria as a customer acquisition manager, DAE, special account, amongst other roles that he held for MTN. He's a top performing professional with a remarkable background in delivering remarkable contributions in achieving record-setting sales figures and driving business expansion and sales and marketing, as it were. He's also skilled when it comes and vast when it comes to customer satisfaction. Welcome, Mr. Ifeanyi. The floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Kelechi. Thank you for that introduction. I don't know if you can see me. Let me just...
Yes, I can. I can see you.
Okay, so I will start off with saying, well, thank you to Morenica. That was a great presentation. Actually, you finished everything. I don't know what I'm going to say here because I have a lot written on my notes. Thank you for that presentation. At least you are speaking directly from the part of an entrepreneur and someone that is still in the business as at today. So thank you so much for that presentation. I want to believe every one of us in this webinar has learned one or two things from you. Kelechi, I don't know if my slide is up. I'll just run through just a few things. But I think you've spoken to a lot of some of the things as will be seen in my slide, just from where you started this morning. But Kelechi, is my slide up so that I just speak through? So we're going to look at some tips. Just like I said, Morenica has also elaborated on some of those tips on how you can go globally. And, somebody asks, when do you know? Or when do you think that you go globally? And, for those of us that are men, somebody will ask you, when do you know you want to get married? You just have that feeling. However, there are some drivers that will be pushing you, and we'll also look at that as well quickly. Then we look at some of the challenges. Morenica has mentioned them. Cultural differences, very critical, because as soon as you're moving from one place to the other, even within Lagos, there are some places you go to. My business or what I do for MTN has given me some leverage to visit, some localities. When you get there, even the atmosphere and the things they do there is totally different. So you have to conform with the way they do things in those areas. So the cultural differences is very, very important that you put it into your planning. Kelechi, the slide is still not up. Can you hear me? Anyone hear me?
My apologies for the silence.
Okay,
Do you
the
want
slide is...
let me just quickly give you access so that you can share from your end, if you don't mind, sir.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, so you can give me access. I'll share from my end, so that we can quickly run through that.
Okay, you can go ahead and share, sir. You have access now. You can share. Apologies.
So just let me know. Let's see. Okay, just let me know if you can see my slide, so that I'll just speak through it.
Not yet. Not yet. Not yet, sir. But we see you, though. We see you sharing your video, but we can't see your slides.
Okay. Not too familiar with Zoom sharing.
Or if it's no bother, if it's do you want to, I don't know whether you can quickly send, even if it's on WhatsApp, to me quickly, so I can just get that out for you.
All right. I think I should do that because I'm not too familiar with...
No problems. You can send by mail or by WhatsApp, and whichever. I'll pull it out.
I'm sending by WhatsApp again to you.
Okay.
So it's off here now. So just check your site so that we can run through it quickly. It's just about 3 slides. That's all. Okay, so while we wait for Kelechi, I also think it's important. I know Marinika has done a great job, but while thinking about going globally, you must watch out for the macroeconomic indices of where you're going. And what do I mean by that? What is the inflation rate of where you're going? What is the borrowing rate of where you're going? I know she spoke about, when you convert Naira to dollars. Very important because it can affect your business. You have to, so in Nigeria here today, the borrowing rate as at today is about 27.8 approximately. Inflation is ranging at 33.8 or thereabout. So for the investor coming into Nigeria, looking at these two indices, it's obvious that you're going to run at a loss, except you are going to do something magical, except you are going to do something drastic. But looking at these two indices, you want to borrow and you want to match it with inflation. When you divide these numbers together, it's going to give you a negative figure. That shows that if you continue on that trend, you'll be trending on a negative profit. So it's important to look at the macroeconomic indices of where you're going globally. How are they doing? What is their borrowing rate? What is their percentage inflation? It's important to look at. Don't just say, oh, I see them on TV, everything is fine, let me just go there. No. You have to look at those indices before stepping into okay. So let's quickly go now. Sorry about that. Let's move to the next slide. Okay, so these are a few tips, and I'm sure Marinika has spoken into, because she talked about talent and training. When you move locally, it's important you hire local talent. Now, this saves you money, and you can pass that same knowledge, because you are the one sitting with the knowledge. You can pass it to these local people that you've hired, that this is how you want things done. Sometimes I look at some of the buildings around Lagos. Most of these buildings were not built by white people. The buildings were built by maybe just one expert and local talent. So what they have done is to transfer that knowledge to the local talents to say, this is how we want this building to appear. And those people follow footsteps, and they just build those, those fittings and those buildings looking like it's all rooted all the way from America or UK, and it puts here. So talent acquisition and training is very important. She talks about market research. You don't just dab into a market because, you hear people say, I went there. No. You have to do your research. You have to use data. You have to look at the population. You have to conduct a SWOT analysis. And when we say SWOT analysis, people just think, it's too many English. No. What are your opportunities? What are the strengths? What are the weaknesses there? What opportunities is in that place for me to read? Because as an entrepreneur, the first thing that is always ringing in your head is, I will make profit when I go into such a market. Okay, so she also talked about market fit adjustments. You also need to ensure pricing alignment with local purchasing power, and she spoke about that, so I don't want to also operational efficiency, optimize supply chain for regional logistics. She spoke about this, how you are going to move your businesses around, or your equipments or whatever you want to use. Building strategic partnerships, talk about collaborations, collaborating with local distributors, suppliers, and influencers. These are cost measures. I remember the first time MTN came into Nigeria, we used to import everything, even to SIM. We import even the desks we use, the chairs, we import them all the way from South Africa. But after a while, the business discovered that looking at FS, we can't continue doing this. We can source this thing locally. Today, we source every of these things locally. So you must build collaborations with local distributors. This will reduce your cost of sales and your cost of operation. Prioritize research, funding, and marketing. You know, Kelechi during the introduction talked about customer satisfaction index. Once in a while, you need to carry this out. How am I faring? How do people view me? How do you need to do it? You can do it in a small scale. We call them mystery shoppers. You can call them whatever you want to call them. They go into the market, they take some indices, they ask some questions, they pretend like buyers, you know, just to check how you are doing. You know, one of the greatest appraiser that anyone should have is self-appraiser. When you appraise yourself, you don't need someone else to appraise you. And that's what I tell my team. Before you go to bed every evening, what do you ask yourself? What have I achieved today? What have I done today? From the time I woke up, maybe 6 a.m., 5 a.m., to now that I'm going to bed, how did my day run? Self-appraiser. If you are able to do that in your business, your business will stand the test of time. You need to appraise, and that is why you need the customer index satisfaction survey. You do that from time to time. Let's go to the next slide. So how do you know you are ready? You know, somebody said, how do you know you are ready? Consistency and scalable revenue. When you have money, when you have revenue streams, definitely you can start thinking of expansion. Strong operational foundation with documented processes. If you have your documents, you can start thinking of expansion. There's a project we're running now. We call it Pentagon, Project Pentagon. Once you submit one of those documents, you are allowed to have as many up to 5 to 7 stores from one document that you have submitted. Okay, so positive market validation and customer demand in the new regions. So you must be up to date. She talked about that. You must take interest in what happens in your field of, in the field that you operate. You must take absolute interest in what is happening in, and I will give you a typical example. So let me just go off telecoms. Let me just give you a basic example. In my church, we opened bakery, and this bakery is run by the Men's Fellowship. And I just found myself all of a sudden taking interest in bread. Today, I can tell you how many slices that are in a bread. When I buy bread from outside, I count the slices. If it's not up to the number of the slices a bread should have, I know that there's something these people are doing. I've bought bread from different stores as a sampling. Just bought about 10 different breads from different stores. I count the slides. I can tell you from the slides how many grams they have used. This is not my field, but because I am part of the people that are managing that for the church, I took interest, personal interest, and that is how it should be. You should take personal interest in your business. It opens your horizon. It opens your mind. She talks about mindset. It all starts from the mind. It all starts from the mind. If you are able to take the things, the businesses you run, and ask questions, you will have insight. When people are making adjustments, you also know that certain things are happening in the trade. Then lastly, here is sufficient financial resources and access to growth capital. We talked about that. This is how you know you're ready. But first, for me, it's consistency. If you can measure your level of consistency over time, you will know you are ready. You will know you are. And yes, revenue also being your side will act as a catalyst to push that move forward, and, to know that you are ready to expand. Let's look at some of the challenges. Like I said, Morinka has done a great job. I'm just finishing the part. So let's go to the next slide. Some of the challenges she talks about, regulatory hurdles. This This is, in my field, it is one of the greatest headache we have. Today is do this, today don't do that, today don't. So those hurdles are there. These are some of the challenges. And as you think of going global, these challenges will come because there are not things you are familiar with. Even if you are familiar with them, when you get over there, people, it will be in a different scale. So you have to be ready for it. Cultural differences, she's spoken a lot about cultural differences. When you move globally, you need to understand the cultural differences of where you're going and where you're coming from. I'll give you a typical example. Like I said, when I moved from Iko-Evi, where my office is, to Epe, in short, when I'm approaching that region, Igbeju-Lekki, Epe, I see that there's a cultural difference. We all live in Lagos, but there's a cultural difference. The way they do things, their spending power, the way they talk, everything is different. And the way I approach that market is also very different. So if I'm selling something 2 naira in Iko-Evi, when I get there, I might give it for free just to get affinity, just to get their mindset, just to draw attention. So cultural differences is key when you are thinking about going global. Then she also talked about financial risk. And, that's what we talked about, currency devaluation. I've talked about microeconomy. You need to study this. Don't just say, oh, there's a business for me in South Korea, for example. Oh, I need to go there. Have you studied South Korea microeconomic indices? Will it favor you? Starting from where you're operating from. If I'm going to change Naira to their currency, what will be the exchange rate? That's number one. If I get there, will I have access to funds? For example, is a large-scale business, will I have access to funds? What are the things I need to do before I can access a fund? What are the durations that you need to check all this? It takes time, but the time is worth it because you don't want to jump into something that that you will regret because you wanted to just move very fast. No, yes, I know there's first movers advantage, but it's always good to study your market. In where I work in telecoms, we deal with a lot of data. Yes, sometimes data does not speak to the details on ground. So we match data with the details on ground. For example, some of the populations we see in some areas, some new markets, some ready markets we want to move in, where we look at the data and when we go on ground to look at the place, sometimes we'll see some variations. We can match those variations to get our facts right. Then we move in. Yes, I agree that there's first movers advantage. It's always, just like Monica has said, there are some businesses they have gotten in some areas. I'm sure in some of those places, probably they are the first people to do this large scale of business, and people will just keep referring back to them to say, oh, this business was done by so person, please go back to them, they are good. And so that is first movers advantage because we are the first that have done that such thing. But please, for the benefit of everyone on this call, it is good to always check the macroeconomic indices of where you're going. Kelechi, next slide. So final tips from me. I said initially that it's just a short slide because Monica has said all that. Final tips and takeaway from me. A brilliant strategy may put you on the competitive map, but only a solid execution keeps you there. Yes, you have worked on going globally. It has worked. How is your execution? How did you execute that job there? Because that is the only thing that can keep you there. So yes, you can do all the strategy, but please always remember to have a solid execution. It leaves a footprint. It leaves a landmark. It leaves a footprint nobody will clean. History will remember. So your execution at every time should be solid. And the second one, for those that have SMEs that have firms, that have maybe people working with them, the key to executing your strategy is to have people in your firm understand it. Everyone should understand where you're going, including the crucial part, publishing processes. by which intangible assets will be converted to tangible outcomes. Let them understand your strategy. One of the things that have killed us in this part of the world is that we carry it all. Only the CEO knows the strategy. So when the CEO is not around, everything is on standstill. I see it in my field of, and I'm sure, Madam, we will allude to this. If the CEO is not around, everything is on standstill. If the CEO is sick, everything is. Let everyone understand the strategy where you're going. Remember, you are running a business that will give you. You are running a business that will stand test of time. You are running a business today. What's it called now? Is it Kentucky or what? I'm trying to remember this fast food now that the man discovered at 65 years old. It's no longer there. It's the children that are running it. God is good. The man is no longer there. It's the children are running it, even running it better. The business should appeal. And the only thing you can do, okay, KFC, thank you. KFC, the children is even in the hands of great-grandchildren, and they are running it. Why? Because they understand the strategy. They understand the structure. So present a business. Whenever I have opportunity to meet with SMEs and entrepreneurs, one advice I give them is put a structure in your business so that the business outlive you. Don't put a structure in a business that remains with you and dies with you. So whenever you are doing a strategy, let the people in your firm understand where you're going. It makes life easy. It makes everything seamless and flawless. And that's why I gave you the example. Some of the buildings today, look at the buildings springing up. When you go there, you see only maybe one or two whites men. But what have they done? They have put that strategy even in the minds of the local builders. They know what the boss prefers. They know what the boss likes. That is how it should be in our business. And I haven't said that. I want to say thank you for your time. This is my last slide. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Fine. Thank you very much. Let me just stop sharing so that I can take comments or questions that were asked in the chat room. Probably obviously share my own thoughts as well. Okay, I don't think I see any questions here. Do we have any questions, comments, contributions from the room? You can unmute. Okay, I think I have one here now. Wow, this is from Mrs. Priscilla again. Okay, so I think there are about 4 or 5 of them. Yeah, 5 actually.
Okay.
So the first one, I'll take one after the other. Sorry. It says the first one here says, what are some of the most common mistakes businesses make when attempting to go global? First question.
Okay, so I take it the way you're asking, right?
Yes. Let me don't give you the whole 5 at once. I'll take it.
Okay, so
I'll take it one at a time.
So Priscilla, it's very simple. One of the first mistake is not understanding the market you are going into. That is first mistake. If you don't understand that market has its peculiarities, that market has its potentials, different from where you're coming from. You must understand what drives that market. What are the drivers of that market? Is it people? Is it the economy? Is it the spending power? What is driving it? You must understand. In my last session that I had with Anna, I talked about, have you looked at Boku Supermarket today? If you have not watched their strategy, after this session, watch their strategy. Look at where they are putting shops and tell me what you think. It's an assignment I want to give to those that are in Nigeria here. It's an assignment I want to give to those that are in Nigeria. Look, when you pass Boku Supermarket, look at the area it is. Find out why are they putting it here? Find out. There is something. They are using mass markets. They are using densely populated areas to drive their businesses. So they are putting their businesses where they have high foot traffic of people that can come in. And they are using bread. That's why you go to the shop, you see a queue of bread all the way almost to the outside. Because They have studied the market and they have brought in those shops in those areas. Study the market you are going into. Don't be too much in a hurry. Yes, I talked about first movers advantage is important, but study the market. Macroeconomy indices, what is the driver of that market? Is it population? Is it spending power? What is the driver of that market? When you're able to answer that question, you won't be able to make that mistake. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question, she says, okay, can you share any real-world examples of local Nigerian companies that successfully navigated their international expansion post-COVID? What were the key factors to their success? Any strategic look in the area of health?
Post-COVID, that is where, okay, so I'm trying to read the question again. It said, can you share any real-world examples of local Nigerian companies that successfully navigated their international expansion post-COVID? What were their key factors in their success? Any strategic lookouts in the area of health? I think COVID was an eye opener for us because, and not only Nigeria, globally, because nobody saw it coming. It came and we discovered that most people, even the Americans, they were not ready. Even the doctors that were researching were dying. They were not ready for this. However, I will not be able to speak much to this because I'm not in the health sector, but I've been telecoms. But I know that a lot of key learnings have been taken from what happened in COVID. For example, now you see that those what's it called now? The places they used to hold people during COVID. I'm trying to remember what it's called now. Those health facilities they use in holding COVID patients are being converted now to research centers where people come to do all this research and just to get ready for any outbreak of. So I think it's just getting ready with researching outlets. But like I said, I'm not in the health segment. Maybe if there's a doctor here can speak more. But in telecoms, if I want to speak in telecoms, nothing much has happened. The only thing that happened post-COVID is that data usage has become a source. Data usage for us is matching voice because people have discovered that they can do a lot, even not appearing in the office to see face to face. I want to believe some of us, even our first speaker was probably somewhere else, not in the office, and he was able to present and give a speech with the power of technology and the power of data. That is one eye opener that we've seen from the telecom industry, that you can actually work from anywhere and you can still achieve that goal. But maybe someone in health sector will speak much to this, but I've not really dived into this much. So the third question here, let me see. Kelechi, over to you, sorry.
Okay. So the third question says, how do you see global expansion evolving in the next 5 to 10 years? Are there emerging markets businesses should be watching? She's saying she'll help with a list if you can look out for them or something.
Okay, so that definitely this is a very brilliant question. Yes, global expansion is growing fast now. Why did I say that? Because just like Monica said, there's a lot of collaboration. There's a lot of association happening now. Why? Because people don't want to bear risk alone. Because of the inflation is not only happening in Nigeria, inflation is happening globally, it's happening everywhere in the world. And people are looking at like minds and businesses of like passions to share, to collaborate with. Now, collaboration means we are sharing the risk. And what that means is, if anything happens, I will not just bear it alone. Have someone that I will share this risk with, and the impact will not be. Yes, we'll share this list with you. I think I have some, but not in my presentation now. Maybe we'll share. We'll forget your emails. We'll share. Yes, emerging markets businesses There are so many businesses to watch out for now. The retail businesses are growing very fast because people are not finding enough time now to go to the open markets. And that's why you see them springing up everywhere. And it is people are making money from it. Whether we like it or not, people are making money from it because I manage some of them. So people are making money from it. The technology business as well, these people that, do you call them skilled makers or whatever you call them? There's one I watch on daily basis. It's also business that is also making waves because there's a lot of information that is being passed through those medium. And people are also watching out and using those informations to boost their business. Monica talks about the social media. Yeah, those are also places you can look at. Technology is evolving, and you need to evolve with technology as it's moving. See, before it used to be an open market where you go in. Now it is the people's demand that is driving the market. So what do I mean by this? Is what people want that is driving the market. So you in this space, you have to be, like she said about mindset, you have to be open. How your customers are behaving, especially the ones that comes to you. How do they want to be reached out to? How do they prefer to be reached out to? Watch them. And that's why for every business owner that is here, you must have a link online. It's not every customer that want to see your face. There are customers that just want to interact with you online and leave it there. They don't want to come to you. They are not interested. So now it's customer that is deciding and dictating the terms of the market. And you must go with the trend. If you don't go with that trend, you'll be left out. So there are so many emerging markets that are coming, just like some have mentioned, but we can mail some to you that you can take interest with. Thanks, Kelechi.
Okay, so
I think our
the
first
last
question is also
is,
linking to that. Yeah.
Yes,
Go ahead, Kelechi.
partnerships and finances. She says, okay, partnerships and finances are recurring challenges. Any advice?
Partnership and
Did you get
finances
that?
are recurring challenges. Any advice? Yes. So before you go into partnership, first you need to understand who you are going into partnership with, and of course there will be a binding agreement that that today it might surprise you. We co-locate with Airtel, we co-locate with Glo, we co-locate with Nine Mobile, and someone will ask me, there are places we go to. They are already there ahead of us. We just go to their site and put our antenna. And they are our landlord. We pay them. We are in the same market, hustling the same customer. But putting our antenna in where they have built their mast does not cost them anything because they have already built the mast. It's just for us to put antenna and pay them. Maybe on monthly basis or yearly basis, we pay them. So partnerships are good. It reduces costs of operation. They are good. We share. So when things, let me give you an example of when I mean you share risk bearing. If somebody comes to that site and damage the site, they are not the only one that will bear the risk. They will call us and say, oh, somebody came here to damage the site. This is the cost. This is your proportion. This is what you are going to pay. We as the landlord will take maybe the bigger chunk of the payment and we'll pay for it. So that is why it's good. Partnerships are good. However, know who you are going into partnership with. Do your background checks. Let there be a binding document, and let the processes end to end be clear. No assumptions. Don't say he's my friend. Don't say he's my family member. In short, doing business with family member is a discussion for another day. I don't even encourage it. So let it be clear. No assumptions. Let it be clear end to end what each person equity has brought and what the profit sharing will be. But whether it's good, it is. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So I think those are the only questions we have. Let me just quickly scan through the chat room again. Yeah. Okay, so I think those are the only questions we have there. Okay, so let me just thank you very much, Mr. Fine. I mean, it was really insightful.
Thank you.
really interested to obviously listen to you again and learn from you, as the case may be. In fact, while you were talking, I also took some of my notes, especially when it came to when you talked about data and insights. I mean, it's a no-brainer that data and insights are key drivers when it comes to decision making, right? Regardless of what size of business you operate, whether you're a small business or a large enterprise. As I always say, there are no assumption is the how do you put it? Is it that assumption is the father of all disasters or something like that? You cannot run a business based on assumptions. You need useful primary data for you to take those higher level decisions before you begin to position yourself for growth. Another thing you talked about that I also took note of was when you talked about consistency. I remember my days of marketing 101, or should I call it branding 101, where they talked about consistency being an immutable law of either branding or marketing. By what are they trying to say? Whether it is 2029 or whether it is 2014, whether it's 1989, regardless of the year or regardless of the climb you find yourself in, consistency, when it comes to business, consistency is something you shouldn't fail in. It's an immutable law that does not change. You must be consistent. If you say, let me use Mrs. Morenike's analogies. If you say you want to be selling Uri, please be selling Uri. Do not jump from Uri to palm oil. So if it's Uri, be consistent. So those are immutable laws. I think the last one for me was when you talked about execution and strategy. I always liken strategy and execution to what's this my delicious food I like now? Rice and stew. So execution to me is like rice and stew. They go hand in hand. I mean, as I always say, strategy will get you into the room, but execution will keep you in the room. I mean, you don't go, if you go there with your wow and hey, gets the time of execution and what you painted, the picture, I mean, trust me, I've had several experiences. I've seen it play out several times. I mean, they come into the room with fantastic strategy, fantastic decks, colorful presentations, and we now say, okay, it's time to hit the road or let the rubber to meet the road. And you're like, what went wrong with your execution? So they go hand in hand. It's a handshake between the two. So those are just my own insights. I think I called it from your presentation. And of course, there are quite a number of things I know we learned from you. I think I've seen so many people talk about whether we share the slides. And yes, after this, we'll get some of the presentations and the recordings and share to all of our participants that are in the room today. But before we go, we would like to more or less for lack of a better word, pay homage to our sponsors, who is Ask Hannah, and I'm pretty sure some of us saw the video that played initially before we started the sessions. Ask Hannah is an AI-powered chatbot that is more or less like your sales and marketing director, your internal sales and marketing director. In a nutshell, plainly put, Ask Hannah is an AI tool that helps and aids SMEs, especially. We're taking those salient, or should I say specific marketing and sales decisions when it comes to execution, when it comes to strategy, when it comes to planning, regardless of what your queries or your questions are. Ask Hannah is actually that AI platform for you. It also has a human factor to it if maybe what you're getting isn't as actionable as you want it. There is the back end where you can actually speak to a consultant who would give you insight to what the platform is actually saying. So, but as I said, we would like to allow our operations and design experts, or should I say, the operations and design experts for Ask Hannah, the Ask Hannah platform, to do a quick demo for us, about 5 to 10 minutes, and we'll probably call it a day. Please, is Shamsuddin in the room? Shamsuddin is our lead.
Yes.
Fantastic. Shamsuddin is our lead operations and tech person. So Shamsuddin, please, I think you have the capacity to share. So go ahead and do your thing.
All right, thank you so much. Good afternoon, everybody. Hope we're all doing great today. My name is Shamsuddin. I'm leading the development and execution of Ask Hannah app from Determiners Technologies in partnership with Redwood Consulting. Quickly, for the sake of time, I'm going to share my screen and walk you guys through how you can interact with Ask-Ana, and then share a link for you guys to also download, install it, and just register, and then you guys can always provide feedback. So I'll quickly share my screen and open the app from Play Store and then sign up. I won't be signing up because I've signed up already. I'll just ask Anna some key questions. We'll see our response, walk us through how we can book a session. Please, if you can allow me to share my screen. Okay. Walk us through how we can book a session if we want to speak to an expert, and basically use the app and give feedback. So I'm going to be opening the app. You can see it here, Ask-Ana. I've already registered, but if for you guys, you can always use the continue with Google to sign up, or you can sign up using the sign up button here and then get started. I've shared one of the link. I think if you can help me share the link to the iOS Play Store and Google Android Store for users on this call to download while I just continue the demo. So I'll be logging in straight away. And as you can see, I'm logged in and there are some pre-selected questions for you guys to ask. On the page, we have the home button, the accounts where you can manage your accounts. You can tell us the kind of business you do, the registration, so that we can better have an idea of the kind of business you do, so that we can curate responses that will fit into your specific needs as business owners. Below it, we have the My Bookings, where you can book a session with an expert. You can see your past sessions. You can book a new session. Tell us what you would like to get advice on. Select a discussion area: finance, human resource, operations, legal, name it, cuts across every field. We have experts that can talk to these your problems directly from the Ask-Ana team. We'll connect you with experts that can do that. But what I'm going to be walking you through on this call is basically how you can interact with the bots, which is a bot that has been designed to answer your business questions, marketing, and everything business, specifically in Nigeria. So as you can see here, there are some questions, pre-selected questions. You can either use them like this one. Let me start with this. What are business strategies? Once you click on it, you get the response in real time, depending on your network. You can ask follow-up questions. You can see, like the one I'm asking here, how can I get funding for my business? And yeah, to take few seconds, but you get your response almost real time. As you can see here, to list out how you can get funding for you, personal savings, friends and family, angel investors, venture capitalists, bank loans, grants. You can have real conversations with Ask-Ana, but if you want to speak to an expert, you can submit feedback directly to it. And then once you submit feedback, you get a pop-up. If you want to book a session, we can provide personal advice. As we have said, it will take you straight to booking a session. You tell it the area of discussion you want: sales and marketing, finance. Tell it whatever it is you want to talk about. And then you'll be required to pay a fee. I think for now, is about 5,000 naira. Just in the beta phase, you can select schedules, 3 different schedules you want. The Ask-Ana team will look at the time and schedule a particular time that works with you. You get an email, and then you can go from there. Just times that work for you, anytime. Basically, I believe you guys will have the time that works for you to take you to confirm. You book a consultancy session, make the payments, directly through Flutterwave, and you get a date for you, and then you go from there. So for the sake of time, I won't walk through the entire process, but I think for now, you guys can, I think the links would have been dropped for you. You guys can go straight to Play Store or iOS Store, get the app, register, and start chatting with Hannah, getting some of those business questions that you have some have been answered on this platform, and some of them that you might want to answer, you get them. I understand some of you will say, oh, I can always get some of these responses from other bots. So Ask Hannah has been designed specifically with the Nigerian market in mind, right? It is not just another chatbot. There are specific questions that, due to research that we've been doing over time, that we know small businesses in Nigeria like yours are encountering, that are specifically curated answers to those questions. As much as other bots can give you these responses, we are going to get a more curated answer here. And as Kelechi has said, you are going to have access to speak to experts that will specifically give you time and give you tailored solutions to your business problem. So I think for the sake of time, I'll just stop the demo here, and you guys can please reach out if you have any questions with signing up, or you have any further questions or booking a session. You can use the support, contact us here directly from the app, or you can reach out to any of the representatives on this call. So yeah, thank you very much, guys, and have a nice one. Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Thank you, Shamsuddin.
Okay.
Thank you, Shamu.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Right, I'm sure we're at the end of the program, right? Kelechi, right?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, everyone, on behalf of the Ask Hannah team and the Redwood Consulting and our partners, the determiners. We want to say thank you very much for joining. And to our speakers, to Morenike Molehi and to Ifeanyi Otuya, we want to say thank you for your insightful presentations as usual. We are thoroughly enriched by the depth of your presentations, the practicality. And thank you for those who asked questions, especially Priscilla, who kept asking questions. So I've personally asked to say, let me meet you, Priscilla. I like your inquisitiveness, so let's talk more. I am Hannah Oyebanjo. Thank you, everyone. And let's have a good afternoon, evening, or yes, let me recognize quickly before we close the curtain. Those who've joined outside of Nigeria, I've seen some people from outside, from America, from Europe, and all. Thank you. Very well and very kind of you. It will be on YouTube at the end of the day, like the team has said. So let's have a good time and continue to call us when we are ready to go global, right? And go global 2025. Let's go global. As you sign out here, just say, I'm going global. Make a positive confession here. I'm going global. Come on, say it and own it. I've said so. Say yours before you take your exit. Thank you. Yes, I'm going global. Thank you for responding. Thank you, Uduak. I agree with you. Olayemi, yes, I say so. Priscilla, yes, it will happen. Monisola, you are going. Fikayomi, yes. Jai said, thank you, everyone. I'm going global. Yes, so. Ha, ha, ha. Thank you, everybody, and have a good day. Cheers. Bye. Bye.